The energy in the late-night TV studio was electric, as always. The camera zoomed in on the charismatic host, his sharp wit and bold humor earning nervous chuckles from the audience. Each punchline landed with precision, pushing boundaries, as the crowd alternated between laughter and uncertainty. But then, the host pivoted unexpectedly, directing his next joke at Barron Trump, the youngest son of the former First Lady and President. The quip was quick, cutting, and unmistakably aimed at the teenager. While some in the audience laughed awkwardly, others exchanged uneasy glances, shifting uncomfortably in their seats. The impact was immediate. Within hours, the clip was everywhere, lighting up social media like wildfire. Hashtags like #Barron Trump trended across platforms, while timelines filled with reactions ranging from outrage to defense. Supporters of the Trump family condemned the joke as tasteless and cruel, calling it an unnecessary attack on a child who had largely stayed out of the public eye. On the other side, some defended the remark as just comedy, sparking heated debates. As the controversy gained momentum, what started as a single joke began to ripple far beyond the studio, setting the stage for a cultural reckoning no one saw coming. In the quiet elegance of her Palm Beach home, Melania Trump sat frozen, her eyes locked on the screen. The viral clip played out before her, and each word of the joke aimed at Barron cut deep. Disbelief washed over her, followed by a wave of maternal protectiveness. Barron had always been her priority, shielded from the glare of public scrutiny as much as possible. To see him become the target of such a biting remark ignited a fire within her. A line had been crossed. She opened her laptop and began drafting a statement, her fingers moving with purpose. The words were strong, denouncing the joke as inappropriate and harmful. But as she reread the draft, a gnawing thought took hold. Words wouldn't be enough this time. This wasn't just about a single comment. It was about setting a precedent that children, even those of public figures, were off limits. Melania's resolve hardened. This wasn't just about protecting Barron. It was about standing up for every child who had been dragged into the chaos of public life. With a deep breath, she made a decision that would ripple far beyond her living room. She would sue. Calling on one of the nation's top defamation attorneys, Melania prepared to take a stand not just as a former First Lady, but as a mother defending her son's dignity. The battle she was about to launch would shake the media world to its core. The next morning, Melania Trump took her stand. Partnering with a renowned defamation lawyer known for tackling high-profile cases, she filed a lawsuit against the late-night host and the network. The official statement, released to the press, was direct yet powerful. It emphasized the importance of humor's boundaries and underlined the responsibility to protect children from becoming collateral damage in public discourse. Melania's message was clear. This wasn't about stifling comedy. It was about accountability. The announcement sent shockwaves through the media, sparking an immediate firestorm of coverage. Headlines blared across news outlets, while social media platforms lit up with debates. Supporters praised her boldness, calling her a fierce and protective mother standing up against bullying disguised as humor. "Every child deserves dignity, regardless of who they are," one viral post read. Meanwhile, critics were quick to push back, accusing Melania of targeting free speech and using the lawsuit for attention. Through it all, Barron Trump remained out of sight. Friends close to the family described him as a reserved teenager who preferred to stay under the radar. The spotlight, they said, was a burden he never asked for. While Melania faced the media storm head-on, Barron's silence spoke volumes about the weight of the scrutiny. Melania's fight wasn't just about justice. It was about ensuring her son's world didn't crumble under the weight of public judgment. As the world debated, the stage was set for a cultural reckoning. The lawsuit ignited a cultural wildfire, sparking heated debates in homes, classrooms, and workplaces across the nation. News anchors, social media influencers, and everyday citizens dissected the story from every angle, turning it into a litmus test for the boundaries of free speech and the ethics of comedy. Some sided with Melania Trump, lauding her as a protective mother standing up against what they saw as a bully hiding behind humor. Children should be off limits, no matter who their parents are, declared one viral opinion piece that resonated with parents and educators nationwide. On the other hand, the late-night host refused to back down. In his next broadcast, he addressed the controversy head-on, portraying himself as a defender of free expression. "Comedy challenges power," he said, his tone both defiant and self-assured. "If we start censoring jokes, where does it end?" His words rallied a chorus of support from fellow comedians and free speech advocates, who warned that the lawsuit could set a dangerous precedent. Late-night monologues and podcasts turned into battlegrounds, debating the balance between creativity and accountability. The divide wasn't just about Melania or Barron. It was about the broader implications of targeting public figures' families. Parents and educators joined the fray, pointing out that humor aimed at children crossed an ethical line. "Satire has a place, but not at the expense of a kid's dignity," one activist said during a heated panel discussion. The conversation rippled beyond the courtroom, forcing society to confront the uneasy question: where do we draw the line between free speech and harm? The stakes grew higher, and the nation watched, divided but captivated. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as Melania Trump, dressed in understated elegance, entered the packed hall. Her posture was unyielding, her expression calm yet resolute. Cameras outside the courthouse captured every step, the world watching as she prepared to defend her son's dignity. Across the aisle, the late-night host arrived, his usual charisma dimmed by the weight of controversy. His determined gaze hinted at a man ready to fight for his principles, yet the burden of public scrutiny was evident in his every move. The trial began with the prosecution's opening argument, a powerful indictment of the joke's impact. Melania's lawyer, renowned for her commanding presence, stood before the jury and played the offending clip. The room fell silent as the audio echoed, its sharpness more jarring in the solemn courtroom. "This isn't just about humor," the lawyer stated, her voice steady but forceful. "It's about the harm inflicted on a teenager who never sought the public eye." The defense countered with an impassioned argument, invoking the First Amendment as a shield for the host's words. "Satire has always pushed boundaries," the lead attorney argued. "The intent was not malice, but to challenge and provoke thought." The host himself took the stand, delivering a heartfelt plea about the role of comedy in addressing societal issues. "If we silence comedians, we risk losing a vital voice in public discourse," he declared, his tone a mix of defiance and vulnerability. Outside the courtroom, the trial became a media phenomenon. News anchors analyzed every word, while social media erupted with commentary. Hashtags trended, reaction videos flooded timelines, and public opinion fractured further. For many, this wasn't just a legal battle. It was a cultural moment that reflected deeper questions about accountability, humor, and the boundaries of free speech. The tension inside and outside the courtroom reached a fever pitch as the trial unfolded, the nation glued to every twist and turn. The courtroom was gripped by tension as the prosecution announced a surprise witness. William Carter, a former network employee, stepped forward, his demeanor calm yet resolute. His entrance was unexpected, and the defense exchanged uneasy glances. The atmosphere grew heavier as Carter took the oath and began his testimony. With measured words, Carter painted a damning picture of the network's behind-the-scenes culture. "The joke about Barron Trump wasn't an off-the-cuff remark," he stated, his voice steady but laden with significance. From his briefcase, he produced a stack of emails, internal communications, and drafts that revealed a startling truth. The joke had been pre-planned. The documents showed it had been debated, refined, and ultimately approved by network executives. One email stood out, its cold calculations silencing the room. "Controversy sells." The jury leaned forward, and gasps rippled through the spectators as the damning emails were displayed on the screen. Carter explained how the network prioritized sensationalism over ethics, using controversy as a strategy to boost ratings. This wasn't about humor or creative freedom, Carter emphasized. It was about profit at any cost. As the revelations unfolded, the focus began to shift. What had initially been seen as the host's misstep now implicated the network's higher-ups. The defense scrambled, arguing that the host acted independently, but the evidence painted a different picture. The once charismatic host now appeared as a cog in a larger, more cynical machine. Outside the courtroom, the media erupted with the new developments. Headlines screamed about the network's toxic culture, and public outrage grew. Executives were placed on administrative leave, and whispers of further investigations filled the air. What began as a joke at a teenager's expense had now exposed systemic issues in the entertainment industry, leaving the court and the nation reeling from the implications. The courtroom was hushed as the jury filed back in, their faces unreadable. All eyes were on the foreperson as they delivered the decision. The jury had ruled in favor of Melania Trump. The host was found liable for defamation, and the network was ordered to pay significant damages for fostering a culture that prioritized controversy over ethics. The judge, in her final remarks, emphasized the gravity of the case. "This ruling is not an attack on free speech," she stated firmly. "It is a reminder that freedom of expression does not absolve us of the responsibility to respect others, especially children." The fallout was swift and severe. Within hours, major sponsors announced they were pulling their advertisements from the host's show, citing the negative publicity as a risk to their brands. The network, once a staunch defender of its star, released a statement distancing itself from the controversy and placing the show on indefinite hiatus. The host, once a symbol of sharp wit and edgy humor, now faced an uncertain future, his career and reputation in tatters. At a press conference held shortly after the verdict, Melania Trump addressed the gathered media with a composed yet resolute demeanor. "This case was never about silencing comedy," she began. "It was about accountability and the importance of treating every individual, especially children, with dignity and respect." She expressed hope that the trial would spark a broader conversation about the impact of words and the need for responsibility in public discourse. Her words resonated far beyond the room, as the nation reflected on the lessons of the case. The verdict wasn't just a victory for Melania and Barron. It was a call for change in how society balances the power of free speech with the need for compassion and decency. The trial's verdict sent ripples through the cultural landscape, prompting immediate and lasting changes. Networks across the entertainment industry began implementing stricter guidelines for comedic material, particularly when targeting individuals. The aim was clear: ensure that humor challenges societal norms without crossing ethical boundaries or inflicting personal harm. Comedians, too, took a moment to reevaluate their material. Many began to reflect on the line between satire and cruelty, acknowledging that jokes at the expense of vulnerable individuals, especially children, could perpetuate a culture of insensitivity. Some adapted their content to strike a balance between bold commentary and ethical responsibility, recognizing the power of their platforms to influence public discourse. For parents, the case became a rallying cry. They took to social media, news outlets, and community forums, advocating for greater protections against public ridicule, especially for children of public figures. The case served as a stark reminder that the digital age amplified not just voices, but also the impact of thoughtless words. As the nation processed the trial's outcome, a larger conversation began to unfold. It wasn't just about this particular joke or this specific case. It was about the broader challenge of balancing free speech with respect and accountability. The trial became a symbol of what could be achieved when boundaries are questioned, and humanity is prioritized over sensationalism. In its wake, one message became clear: the freedom to speak comes with the responsibility to consider the impact of our words. As the dust settled, Melania Trump sat quietly in her study, reflecting on the whirlwind of events. The victory in court was more than a personal triumph. It was a statement about the power of standing up for what's right. With her phone in hand, she crafted a tweet that captured the heart of her message. Freedom of speech is a right, but respect and dignity are responsibilities we all share. Let this case serve as a reminder that our words can either unite or divide. Let's choose to build bridges. The tweet resonated deeply, quickly garnering attention and sparking conversations across the globe. It wasn't just a conclusion to the trial. It was a rallying cry for compassion and accountability in an increasingly polarized world. The camera pans to images of people discussing the case in coffee shops, parents having heartfelt conversations with their children, and comedians rethinking their craft. The ripple effect of the trial extended far beyond the courtroom, touching lives and challenging mindsets. This story isn't just about Barron Trump or Melania's fight. It's about the universal need for respect, the importance of accountability, and the power of words. Let's learn from this and commit to kindness. Share this story, spark a conversation, and let's ensure our words build bridges, not walls. Together we can make a difference, one respectful act at a time.